Oh, we're on TV already.
Welcome back. We're just kind of going over this list here. That's pretty
Daniel's
interesting.
claiming he's prepared, and I said
I've got most of that, yeah.
I obviously am not prepared. I have a camp kit for when I go camping. I could probably grab that because that has a lot of this stuff in it.
Well, I notice here on one column it says make copies of all legal papers, and the first one's marriage license. Why would I want that?
Very funny. But something that Tina did mention, when it says make copies of all legal papers, she said if there is a presidential disaster declared emergency, you have to have proof that house is yours that got blown away.
Wow.
So you might want your home
those.
mortgage, rental agreements, wills, auto home ownership, jewelry appraisals, driver's license, bank accounts, credit cards, birth certificates. Wow.
Duct tape.
I would have never, ever thought about having a kit that had all that sort of stuff in it. Now, the sanitation kit for what, I guess, if my power and everything goes out. The car survival kit seems a little long because we're not in an area where you have like blizzards that you get stuck in and things like that. So I shouldn't say it seems a little long.
Well, I don't know. It's probably good to have all those. I see a need for all that. You have jumper cables, reflectors, warning lights, a bag of sand.
A dust mask?
A dust mask. I would like that.
A dust mask, a whistle, duct tape,
you may be in
glasses.
a situation where there's a tornado gone through and there's a lot of chemicals.
I never even thought about
or
that.
Or dust or...
A bag of sand or kilo, that's for if you get stuck in the ice and stuff like that. Work gloves, basic tools.
A manual can opener, you mentioned that earlier.
To always have one of those. A fire extinguisher, we should all have one of those in our car, but probably nobody does. And then your first aid kit down. And I do have sort of a mini first aid kit at home, but I'm sure it doesn't have... the syrup of Epicac, I kept that around when the kids were little because, you make them throw up if they... Ashley one time ate some paint. I was painting the front porch, and she's about 2, wasn't even 2. I looked around, and she had a paintbrush like a popsicle. I was just licking the paintbrush. I freaked completely out. And my girlfriend Susan was at the house, and she called the poison control hotline because I'm washing Ashley's mouth out and crying, hysterical. And they basically said, was it water-based paint? And we said, yes. And they said, did she drink it? Or no, she just licked some on her tongue. They said, this is not going to hurt her then. But, I did have a little, what do you call it, magnet that someone had gotten from probably the hospital or something that I had stuck on the refrigerator that happened to have the poison control hotline number so that we didn't have to dig for it. But that was a scary moment when Ashley's licking a paintbrush like a popsicle.
But the thing that we don't understand a lot of times is when we lose power completely in a situation where not only you don't have power, but everyone else in the neighborhood or even in the town that has no power, you can't pump gas, you can't...
that's true. I thought about that.
Any electricity, and if you're a totally electric...
Traffic lights aren't working anywhere.
If you're a totally electric house, you won't have any heat. To push that.
During the ice storm, I had a fireplace, but there's no insert, so it really doesn't put off a whole lot of heat. But I did have a fireplace, and I have a gas cook stove, so I could, light my cook stove. But I did what all true emergency freakos do. I took off and went to Little Rock. I woke up the next morning and the roads weren't that bad. I had a 4-wheel drive.
You just left.
I threw everything in the car.
Everybody here to suffer.
And I've told this story, I still tell on TV. One of my best friends, Gail Rhodes, you've heard me talk about Gail, my sweet little angel Gail. About a day and a half after this big ice storm, my phone rings. And it's Gail, and she's like,
I've heard this story
Sandy, dear, and I told Jackson we've been cutting our way out to the highway, so we've got to get to Sandy. She's alone. And all. I said, Gail, I'm in like Target or something in Little Rock, and she was like, you're where?
Well, at least she cared about you, and that's a good point.
Me a bunch of firewood.
It's a good point to bring up because if you live in a neighborhood and there's disasters that happen around you, then there's possibly someone that's less fortunate than you, being an elderly or someone that's in a wheelchair or whatever. Make sure that they're in good shape by contacting them.
Check on everyone because, and then it lasts. Long after the danger of the ice storm was here, the inconvenience of the ice storm. Some people were out of power like 3 weeks, and so you had a lot of that.
And you hear stories of parents saying that their children went into depression because they didn't have their phone, iPods, or computers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't ever hear that. But trying to handle a bunch of little kids, I'm putting the drawer out here, without any television. That kind of stuff. So people could learn to read again.
It's, I like it. I liked it when everything was gone because I didn't have anything
Really, I wouldn't want
worry
it for
about.
3 weeks, but like when you have a good snow day, I like a good snow day where you can just kind of cuddle back with a good book, and you really can't do much because the roads are all yucky, and you can just.
Yeah.
I like a good snow day once in a while.
Well,
kind of
I'm
stuff.
sure you'll
trying
have
to
a
fight the
few this
sneeze
year.
right now. Well, we didn't have any last year.
Well, I'm sure we're going to have some this week. We'd like to thank all the guests who've been on the show this week, and we're going to.
It's been one of those days, folks.
It has been one of those days, and we're going to be out of here. See you again next week.
Bye.